I have missed you guys. If you guys want to see what all happened, then just keep on watching. Okay, you guys, so I'm sitting here editing and totally forgot to tell you guys everything that happened with Jameson. So, the following Sunday after I got home, Jameson ran 103.9 fever, and we ended up in the emergency room. They dropped it down to 102.9. They tested him for COVID and strep. It was negative again. Mind you, they had already tested him that Friday prior. Or not strep, but COVID, flu, and RSV. They never tested him for strep. So I forgot to add that we ended up back at the hospital before we saw his actual doctor. So I'm going to add that in the beginning of the video, that way when you get to that point and you're like, wait, I'm confused of what all happened. That Sunday prior to seeing his doctor, we ended up back in the ER with 103.9 fever. So there's that. All right, you guys, it has been insane. If you guys have not followed me on Instagram, you guys have no idea what is going on. And even if you have followed me on Instagram, there's stuff y'all don't even know what happened. So let's just get into it because it's insane. I will say dates as much as I can remember. So, on September 8th, I woke up with the worst ear infection. Like, I felt clogged, but I knew it was an ear infection. I went grocery shopping. I filmed that. You guys will see all of my meal plan and my grocery haul and all that. So yeah, y'all will still see that. But I went grocery shopping on the 8th, like I always do, and I was okay. Like, I was able to film and everything. It hurt a little bit, but not too bad. On the 9th, I woke up in the worst excruciating pain I've ever felt in my life. We went to the emergency room because the emergency room is closer than like an urgent care or a quick care or whatever like that. So we went to the emergency room, and they gave me a Z-Pack, and then that was it. Like, they sent me home. So that happened. On the 11th, Jameson started to not feel good. So I wanted to get him rapid COVID tested, and our ER does rapid COVID testing. Otherwise, you go anywhere else, it's like 5 to 6, even 7 to 9 days to get it back. So went to the ER for that. Not only that, RSV is going around like crazy. So I also wanted to get him tested for RSV and the flu, because obviously it's flu season. Him and I cannot get the flu shot due to being allergic to it. So we just deal with it every year as much as we can. We get the flu, and we fight it off. So, but with COVID going around and stuff like that, I was just concerned. So I took him in, and his oxygen level was low. Not too low to be concerned, but low enough for me to be like, okay, this is not okay. I took him in. They said that it was just allergies. Everything came back negative. Also on the 11th, I got rechecked for my ear because my ear was not getting any better. I was on 1 day of double antibiotic and then 2 days of the single antibiotic. So on day 3, you should at least feel a little bit better. I felt no difference. If anything, I felt worse. So I also was seen on the 11th as well. And at that point, I got admitted into the hospital. It sucked, of course. Having your baby sick and not being able to be home with them was the hardest struggle of my life. So he was dealing with allergies, or so they said. So he went to school the entire time that I was in the hospital. I got transferred from one hospital where I was at to a different hospital to get antibiotic infusions due to of the fact that it ended up going into my mastoid bone. So I had mastoiditis. So I had to go in and have antibiotic infusions done, which is why my ear infection was not getting any better. So I was in the hospital overnight, the 11th, the 12th, the 13th. I came home late on the 13th. I stayed in the ER overnight in the emergency room, waiting room, at the new hospital, waiting for a room. They would not start antibiotic infusions. It was terrible. They just did pain management control, and that was it. When they did pain management control, I passed the hell out. I was in a chair, and I was out. I was done. I was gone. It's just as simple as that. I fell asleep. I tried to sleep as much as I could, and the nurse, he was like, she's been here since I started my shift. Waiting for a room. She has not slept. Let her sleep as long as she can. And mind you, of course, when you're sleeping in the ER, it's like minimal, So I slept, I want to say about an hour and a half they let me sleep. I was exhausted. I was tired. I was in pain. And when I'm in pain, I sleep. Ask my husband every month, I sleep. That's how he knows. He's like, she's asleep? No, it's that time of the month. I'm good. So that happened. And on the 13th, I was able to go home. They did another CT scan the morning of the 13th. My mother-in-law came up there to see me and actually brought me real food. I didn't want to eat anything. I didn't want to drink anything. They lost my IV because they were not giving me fluids or anything. So they had to pull that one, and then they put a new one in right here. It was the worst thing ever. Getting an IV in your upper arm absolutely hurts. And they were doing antibiotic infusions. Now, on the 12th, they tried to switch me from Levaquin to vancomycin. And if you've never heard of Red Man syndrome, look it up. And that is what happened to me. I can no longer have vancomycin ever again in my entire life. It was absolutely terrible. I was hot. I was red. I was itchy. I want to say, felt like my skin was burning from the inside out. Now, mind you, that's my biggest fear, is burning to death. I don't know why. It's always been a fear of mine, is burning to death. So the fact that it was actually happening made me go into a panic. I called my nurse and I said, I'm hot and I'm itchy. And she's like, oh no. So she comes in, she turns off the vancomycin. And I asked her, I said, is this in the penicillin family? She said, no. And I said, okay. She's like, it's in the Levaquin family. And they're like, okay, but we don't want your body to get used to it, which is why we switched you. I was asleep and woke up burning to death. It was terrible. I laugh about it now just because of the fact of how serious it was. And when things are serious, I laugh about it. They were shoving ice packs down me, steroids down my IV, Benadryl down my IV. They were trying to talk me through everything, but I was like in and out of being tired. And I was able to get a room on the 12th. So I had on the 12th and then on the 13th, I was there in the ER room, like in my actual, and I was getting antibiotic infusions every 6 hours. So, they switched me back to Levaquin, and they were like, no, she's staying in Levaquin. Like, leave her alone. Don't do anything else. So, we did that. Everything was okay. I got a CT on the 14th. Levaquin and levofloxacin are the exact same thing. So if you guys hear me flip-flop back and forth, it's the exact same medication. So, got a CT on the 13th, and they said, well, your body's reacting to the antibiotics just fine. And because you're alert and awake and eating and things like that, you can go home. And you can swallow pills, you're fine, you can go home. And I came home on medication. I came home, and in total, with medication that I already had, plus medication that I came home with, I was on 15 different medications. Let's just say I slept. It was terrible. So, mind you, I had a cast on my foot. Because of all the medication, I ended up getting put on another medication. If you're a girl, you understand. If you're on antibiotics, what happens. I had that going on and that happening on top of not being able to fully shower because of the cast on my foot. It was terrible. So, that was the 13th. Chris started feeling like crap on the 12th. I came home with a runny nose and a sore throat. They said it was due to the red man syndrome. Obviously, having an allergic reaction, it sucked. So I had an allergic reaction and red man syndrome. It's totally two opposite different things, but the fact that I was, it sucked. So, there's that. It absolutely sucked. It was the worst day of my life. It was awful. Like, imagine your entire body red, hot, and in blisters. My chest, my arms, and my back. And then my head. My whole scalp. So, yeah, it was awful. It was the worst experience ever. The worst experience at the hospital because of the fact that they didn't have rooms available. Even after they told the ER that I was at, that there was a room available for me to go to, and it never was. So I'm glad I'm home. I went to sleep on the night of the 13th, woke up with the worst head cold in my entire life. I saw my doctor on the 15th, and he's like, you're COVID positive. There's no way that you're not COVID positive. Your lungs are barely moving. You can barely breathe. Like, what do they have you on? What happened? And this was an ER follow-up, and then all this happened. So, ignore the garbage trucks. They just came by, so if you hear them, I'm sorry. But I'm trying to get this done because my house is up for sale. So, it's insane. So, I got COVID tested, and within that time frame, I was trying to stay away from Jameson as much as possible. Now, mind you, he hadn't seen me in 3 days. He had already been in here. If he was going to be exposed, he would have already been exposed because he slept with me for the two nights that I was home. So I just let him, as long as he wasn't showing symptoms, I let him be around me. Everybody else and my husband, because we were all still sick regardless. Like, they were still sick. So whatever I had, they were going to catch regardless because of how low their immune system is. And their doctors kept saying it was, or the ER doctor kept saying it was allergies. So, all was better. I was COVID negative. And so I think after that, everything was fine. I was trying to heal and all this. Jameson was still sick. Chris was still sick. It was like allergies, but with a super bad sinus pressure and cough. So, I'm trying to think. I was healing. They were healing on the, I'm trying to think, Sunday. Last Sunday. The Sunday prior to this Sunday. Not this last Sunday, but the Sunday prior. Jameson got to the point where he was having problems breathing. He was coughing really bad and all of that. So I called Nail Clinic, which is through my provider, and through his provider that we see through the group that we go through. And they were like, well, we're going to get him COVID tested. Now, mind you, everything that was going on with him, were they some of them COVID symptoms? Yes, but not all of them. And that's what was frustrating the crap out of me, is because automatically you have a runny nose, that's COVID. And it's super frustrating because come to find out it was not COVID. So I called his doctor. So he was out of school Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We saw his doctor Wednesday. And she's like, just for curiosity. Now, mind you, Wednesday he started feeling a little bit better. But she's like, just for curiosity, let me strep throat test him. And I said, okay. I was like, well, it's the only other thing that could be wrong. Like, she's like, his throat's a little red. Let me just strep throat him and see what happens. In a matter of seconds, she comes back in the room and she's like, he's full-blown strep throat positive. And I was like, okay, so you're telling me we've had strep throat since the 11th of September? And she's like, yeah. He's so positive, it didn't even have to stay in there as long as it needed to. It was in there for like 5 seconds, and it was positive. So, Jameson's been strep throat positive since September 11th. Chris got it September 12th. I got it September 13th, the night of the 13th. I was already on antibiotics and on all kinds of antibiotics. So I wasn't worried about myself. I still had a cough and stuff, but I didn't feel as terrible. Jameson got on antibiotics, and then I called Chris's doctor, and I was like, hey, Jameson is strep throat positive. I am strep throat positive because I got tested by my doctor just to make sure. Do you want to test Chris for strep throat? He was like, no, I'll just send over an antibiotic. So, Chris had strep throat since the 12th. I had strep throat since the 13th. Jameson's had it since the 11th and been going to school every day. It was insane. I called the school. I let the school know that he had strep throat. And they were like, as long as it's not COVID, we're good. And I was like, okay. So, nobody in his class was sick, just him. Thank God. He must have caught it with somebody in specials because they share specials with another class. But it was insane. So, as of today, oh yeah, and then I got my cast removed because my entire foot, the 2 days after I got out of the hospital, was covered in blisters. Covered. The whole bottom of my foot was blistered. The back of my heel was blistered. The top part of my foot was blistered, and that one blister was bleeding. So, they took my cast off. I no longer have my cast on. And we're just letting the blisters heal for now because they absolutely hurt. So, I have been filming a little bit here and there. So you guys will have videos coming out. But that is everything that happened. Now, mind you, my house went up for sale the week that we came home with strep throat. Once we were put on antibiotics, they started showing the house. We now have 4 offers as of today. Oh my gosh. So, that was my dad just telling us we don't have showings today. But as of right now, we have 4 offers on our house. Through me being in a cast, we packed the whole house. We are down to bare minimum at this point. With that being said, I wish I would have vlogged everything and showed you guys everything. But life was crazy the entire month of September. That's when we packed everything. And it's happening. We're moving to Florida. Like, it's insane. This showing stuff has been insane and has been so fast that it's like, how is this my life? How is this even possible? How is this everything just going so fast? Like, it's been like my life has been on fast forward the entire month of September. Now, I have gotten overwhelmed. I have cried. I have been frustrated. I have been annoyed. I still have been filming what's for dinners as much as I can. As of right now, with everything going on and how stressful my life is right this second, you guys will be only getting 2, maybe 3 videos a week. Mind you, one of them will be a what's for dinner now that I have caught myself back up. But you may miss a what's for dinner here and there. Just because I don't know when we're eating at home and what we're doing. As of right now, the crock pot has been my best friend. And the crock pot goes while the house is being shown. And I mean, there's nothing else I can do. So I have to eat. So life has been insane. Life has been crazy. I will post like itty bitty pieces and vlogs that I've done here and there. I'll put them together of what we've done through September. Like we took Jameson bowling for the first time, and that was amazing and so much fun, and something we're going to continue to do because he loved it so much. But yeah, my house went up 2 weeks later than expected due to the fact of me being in the hospital. I'm the breadwinner of the family, you guys. I'm the foundation of my family. And the fact that I was not here, everybody was jumbled mess. Like, there was to a point where they were telling me I was going to have surgery and have that bone removed and scraped. Like, it was bad. And not knowing everything, it's just been stressful. My whole family was freaking out when I was in the hospital. Like, we need you home. You need to hurry up. Like, I hope you're doing okay. But the entire time I was in the hospital, I slept the entire time. Like, once I got a room, I was out cold. Like, completely out cold. I was so tired, and when I don't feel good, I sleep, you guys. Even when it's that time of the month, I sleep. So, with that being said, I am back on YouTube. I have missed you guys. Jameson was out of school for an entire week due to the strep throat. We are now all good to go. Everything is good now. Life is still crazy, but I now have my hand and hold on things at this point. And that's everything, you guys. I hope you guys understand, and if you guys don't, I apologize, but you know what? Life happens, and myself and my family come first, and that's pretty much what I did, and I took care of all of that while taking care of myself. I never take care of myself first. Having this happen and having myself be admitted into the hospital and not have a child, which is the only other time that I've been admitted into the hospital, has been insane. So, with that being said, don't forget, be smart, be strong, be safe. Keep my family in your thoughts and prayers. We are doing it better now. We still have like this lingering tickle, cough, throat thing. But other than that, we're all doing much better. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.